Welcome, 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 welcome. You ain't raised juke joint, but this is the Pickoff Show. Pickoff Show is all about baseball, and it is opening week. And with me always is my guy Eric. And Eric, how you feeling today?
Good. It's opening week, right? 3 days or something. Thursday.
Yeah, I got my tickets, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'll be in the bleachers. I'll be somewhere close to Justin's crazy self, but we'll be bleacher creatures again on opening day. I look forward to the tailgates and everything. I'll be in Lot B, so I'm looking forward to seeing all the guys mad and
How's the weather look?
50s.
That ain't bad.
Not bad. It's better than it was last year.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Yeah.
Well, last year was like low 50s or high 40s, low 50s. This one should be kind of, right at the middle of 50. Hopefully, we really got some good weather. Hopefully, I'm taking my jacket regardless. I'm not even gonna play.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be a great day. Since I've moved home, I've only missed one opening day, and it was because it was right after COVID, and my wife was like, "No," but
Right.
2022, I was there. Last year, I was there, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to be there. If the White Sox don't see me, but one time a year, it's on opening day.
There you go. There you go. No, I love it. I love it.
So that's what I'm doing, and I wish you. I can't wait for you to come up for opening day.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get to this year, Stu.
Yeah, I
Me and
mean, when you
Justin,
come,
some
we're
of the
going.
boys.
I mean, that's
Shake a game.
that's one thing. When you come, we're going. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and whenever like when Kevin comes up, I'm going.
Yep.
When Matt comes up, I'm going. Whenever
Yep.
some of the scumbags come up, I'm going. So they'll still get their money out of me this year. They almost got me with the food.
Yeah, I saw that. All the new food they're putting
I was
in.
like, shit. I love a club sandwich. I love some pastrami. I love corned beef. I love burgers. Like, stop playing with my emotions.
Yeah, smash burgers and shakes. I saw on the one day. I was like, there we
Crazy.
go.
It was
There we go.
crazy. But I mean, we got opening week, and the White Sox are not slated to do well, and we're going to talk about it. But and I want to just give Steve a shout out. Steve wrote an article for Sox on Tap today, and it pissed me off because he was so freaking right.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's just like, he spoke from a fan's perspective and from just the frustration and just knowing, like, going into the years, it's like we're just not going to be good.
Not, and it's going to be a weird year. Like, you're almost first time in a long time, you're rooting for White Sox players to do well, to raise their trade value.
Yeah,
it's just to get rid of them. Like, that's the only reason. You're hoping Ricotta starts off hot so we can trade him somewhere, because we know we're never picking up his $25 million option next year.
We're
hoping Eloy does well because we want to trade him. We're hoping Soroka starts off well so we can trade him. Like, it's going to be the weirdest season. You're, instead of rooting for players to get wins, you're rooting for productive stats so they become
have some value. Yeah. I hate it. I had to really tell my nephew, like, he's gone. Like, we're not going to pay that contract, and we're going to try to get something back for him. Like, I don't give a damn what what was that movie? They got a washer for a player.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really give a damn what we get back for Yoan. It's just we cannot go into next year.
Well, we'll get into it. This is a perfect segue. Like, run that first base clip because that's what we got to talk about anyway.
Let's go. GM manager news. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you and I talked a little bit yesterday on the phone. Like, I get what we've done. You're going to show some of the quotes. I understand what the White Sox did, right? Like, we tore down the entire house. We fixed the basement. All right, I get it. Water ain't leaking out anymore. The Sox are going to try to, predicted to be a top 10 defensive run save team. Probably going to try to be top 5, top 10 stolen base team. We're going to try to win baseball a different way. We're talking about having a 2-hole bunt, or whatever. We all know that if it was my team, this would never be the style. But, hey, it's a style. There's different ways to win baseball games, so I understand it. I'm here for it. I get it. Am I still concerned to Steve's stuff? Yes. Like, what's next? What are we looking forward to? Like, how are you going to get me to, like we were talking about yesterday, what if I wanted to buy a suite or buy, like, season tickets, so make sure I had a spot saved for the new stadium? Like, other than Luis Robert, can you say, man, I can't wait to go to the White Sox? The franchise is dysfunctional. and I know everybody hates when I say it, but it's always going to be true. It's the second team in the city. Like, it's just no way around it. When you're talking about Mark,
there's no way around it.
Talking about Nashville, just the way that it is. There's no. Why would you, if you're a free agent, and anymore, 10 years ago, free agent went to whoever paid the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Anymore, they don't care.
Nope.
Where can my wife shop? Where are my friends located? What's fun in the organization? Can I win?
Jordan Montgomery still hasn't signed. We're 3 days before the season.
I mean, what's best for now? All of a sudden, it's like, what's best for my life? It's no longer just if you write the biggest check, you get the players. So why would a free agent possibly choose to come to the Chicago White Sox? And us as a fan, why should I buy season tickets? Why should I go? Like, what are we going to see that changes some of that? I know you got some of the quotes, but I get what we've done. I understand the approach, and I appreciate, this, and I appreciate it more than anything. We've stuck to the approach. So far, I haven't seen any Band-Aids. I haven't seen any leaks. Like, the approach is the approach. But now, how are you going to get people to come here? One of the ways we just started talking about, the White Sox have money. They have some freed up capital. They're going to have even more next year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just bring up the guy we were talking about, Moncada.
Yep.
I'm going to look to trade him. I haven't looked in the last week, but I know his trade value on our buddy site, John, on Trade Value Assets is like negative 10.5. So basically, that means you got to pay $10.5 million to get hours to get somebody to take him. You basically got to pay off his contract or part of it to have somebody take him. But what's cool, and you'll notice when it comes to deadline, you'll see this all the time when people say cash considerations, they can overpay to buy like a prospect. Like, say they wanted like a prospect that's supposed to cost like $10 million. You just send $20 million in Moncada over and you get back a prospect. That's one way the White Sox could spend some of this deal, because you don't want to spend it in free agency and you're probably not going to be able to. So I look for them to probably spend some money on shredding money while possibly basically buying prospects. And these other teams they're going to be trading with that are in these luxury tax situations, they're going to look to be avoiding staying in those or getting out of them. So that's one way I can see stuff going.
Yeah, just like we have to figure out the dead money. Like that's like, to me, the dead money that the White Sox have right now. What's going on, Asinine? What's going on, Coach Dante? Thank y'all for being here. The dead money that the trades that we made back in the day to get Eloy, to get
Moncada, all of them.
To get all those guys. Most of them are already gone, right? We're still holding on to Moncada. We still got Eloy, and we got Cease is gone. So, I mean, thing about it is, like, the Moncada money was crazy, and it's still crazy, and it's still going up. So that has to go. But I mean, let's get into it, Eric. So, the one thing that Chris Getz said, and this was interesting. Shout out to Scott Merkin. He did a great job all spring training with the White Sox. He feels like they've raised the IQ of the club, which is something we wanted to accomplish here. I think we're going to reap the rewards as the season goes on. And I think that he is absolutely correct in what he's saying as far as the guys that were brought in are high IQ guys. Maldonado, some of the veterans. Lopez is a high IQ guy because he was in a great organization, right? In my opinion. Paul DeJong, he was with the Cardinals, which is a great organization. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Moustakas has been all over. Pilar has been all over. We're going to talk about them in a minute, but I'm just saying that some of these guys are here on this team. Some of the back end, what's his name? People they don't like the fact that he is Bruce something. Bruce, he's a pitcher. Oh man, what's his name? Oh no, Brad Keller. Yeah. Like Brad Keller. Like, he's been through the ringer. You know what I'm saying? Drew something. What's Drew? His name is Drew. No, not Drew Thorpe. Not the young guy? No, not Drew Thorpe. It's another pitcher that he's been around the block, but he's like
Brian Shaw.
That's what I'm
about him making it.
Yeah. So I mean, people are upset about Brian Shaw, making it over some other people, but I mean,
I get the statement, and I said I understand it. I also would say I don't think it was that hard.
I mean,
that baseball we
like
watched last year, like
was,
that's a low bar to say you're going to raise a baseball IQ. I mean, like some of the stuff we were endured to last year, it wouldn't take much to raise what they did. But like I said, I get what he's done and I respect it. My biggest question is like, how do you solve it from here?
Right.
How do you get marquee talent to possibly make you a competitive window here?
Mm-hmm.
Why would a free agent come here? Why would the deal come here? So it's going to be really interesting to have him navigate. I get what we did. Let's see what we did. But now what? Now what?
Yeah, so he's Coach Dante is saying Maldonado is going to be very good help with you guys. He's a good leader, works well with young pitcher. He's a guy that you want in the locker room. I totally agree.
I'm with it. And I liked he gave guys – you just named off a whole handful of them, guys that are fighting for their career or guys that are trying to reestablish their career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pitcher that we got from that was over in Japan or Korea, right? Like, we get it. He's trying to establish a Major League Baseball career. They're appreciative for being on the team. Like, they're appreciative for having a Major League shot. I get it. But I got bad news. Picking up 1 year of DeJong, picking up Nicky Lopez, adding Maldonado for 2 years. I get it. I get what we're doing, but none of that says I'm an AL Central contender and I am a World Series possible guy. And, man, you should run over here and buy tickets. Like, none of that says that yet.
Yeah, it's still a plug and play. It's still a plug and play thing because we don't have the talent in the farm to be like another team we're going to talk about a little later. Where it's just like a good problem to have with is an overload of talent. We don't have that issue. We do not have an overload of talent.
Or like my biggest part of the old regime, I didn't hate the build. I thought the build was correct. And they were dangerous in 21, or whatever, when they made the run. The problem was they never adjusted. this is our team. Every single year, they let all the value of every contract run to zero, to your point, or almost out. They made no continuing changes. They didn't add to the youth. They just basically said, well, here's a team that I bought. Let's just keep putting them out there and see what's happening. And there was no constant turnover. Like a team everybody hates is the Astros. Look who the Astros have let go off of their squad, and they still win, right? Like, you don't see Springer anymore. You don't see Correa anymore. Verlander wins. Like, it's just like, take a page out of this book. You have to constantly turn some of your roster over to stay competitive. You just can't let all the value run out.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest frustration with the rebuild last time is, like, I was screaming on Spaces to trade Cease and Makata when we started during COVID because I knew what their value was and I knew where their contracts were going. And now we're stuck with one, and we found Cease moved, but we could have got double that return 2 years ago.
So let me just bring up the John's site baseball trade values because when you said that I was like, what? You know what I'm saying?
I'll just guess. Benintendi's a negative 35-ish.
I didn't bring up Benny. I just brought up
-10. Yeah,
there's
-11.
Yeah. That's just. Oh my goodness.
Now a little bit how this will work though. As the year goes on, this number will actually get closer to zero. It'll get better. Just because we're paying off some of the contract that is currently on.
Yeah, so Benintendi right now, god dang, look at Benintendi.
Yeah, after the year he had and the money he's promised, that number, of course, will get better too because it's less of a guarantee. It's less years. You're paying off some of the contract. But yeah, Eloy is actually good. Eloy will probably be actually a positive number. I would guess a 1 or a 2. I'm probably going to look really dumb on the air.
Look at this, Eric. Colas is at 10.9. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's because he's got all the control in the world. Like, control is so important.
Yeah.
Where's Eloy? Find Eloy. See if I look dumb or not. I'll take my chances. I bet he's a 1 or a 2 positive. There he is. You scroll right behind. Oh, there you go, right in the middle. Yeah, so like if you traded him away right now today, you could get back whatever a prospect was worth 1.5. But ideally, what I would love to see the White Sox do, and I think what Getz is going to do, is add more money on top of that. So send Eloy and $10 million to somebody to get an 11 prospect, for example, or send Eloy and $15 million to get like a 15 deal. Like knock some of these guys out of the luxury cap taxes they might be on, give them some talent. We get back what we're kind of looking for in the trades. I think it's how you'll see it unfold. I'm hoping.
Yeah. So another thing that was said that Chris Getz said, he was talking about Leisure and Nastrini. I don't even know how to say his name. I'm saying Nastrini. I think that's
I like
correct.
it. Let's go with it.
Let's go with that one.
Nastrini. Yep.
Yeah, Nastrini. Yeah. All right. So cool. So basically, he's saying that they'll continue to have the conversations internally, but we'll talk to our players soon. Both of them have had really nice camps. That's a lot of GM talk, basically saying that they haven't made a decision, but we've seen some tea leaves about these guys, and Merkin. Scott Merkin said he thinks Nastrini will be the White Sox fifth starter this year. He's earned that spot. They also don't need a fifth until April 3rd, so the White Sox probably will start with 9 relievers, in his opinion. So, I mean, I'm not sure how Chris Getz is going to attack the pitching situation or the starting situation, but in my opinion, well, we're going to talk about it when we get to the roster in a second, but they have to realize, like, we don't have the talent, like I said, in the minors to supplement not having a good product on the field today. Like, you have to give a fan something, right? Like, give us something to look forward to. You know what I mean? Because you gave us a lot to look forward to, and it flopped. And now you're struggling to sell tickets for opening day.
And I think a lot of the frustration, they kept trying to run the same thing down our throat. To my point, they didn't adjust anything. They didn't make any different moves. Yeah. It was like, this is just what you get, right?
Yeah, just take your medicine and be happy.
Yeah. I still, one thing that's interesting in trying to diagnose the GM speak of that last cryptic message, like you said, that he sent, is one thing that's interesting. They said they're not going to really release their roster until Thursday. So that tells me 2 or 3 things. That tells me, one, they're possibly still negotiating with free agents. Like, are they still talking to Clevenger? Like, is that because that's been rumored, right? Are they still talking to somebody, trying to bring somebody in? 2, are they trying to leverage a possible contract extension early? Like, the one thing the old White Sox regime did, and I hope this one picks this up because there wasn't a ton they did do, but like the early contract extensions worked out great for the White Sox. So like it's something where like they're looking to lock Nastrini down for 8 years or 10 years and buy out all his arbitration and put him on some kind of contract. Are they looking to sign, like, remember when they signed Aaron Bummer to that deal? Like, Aaron Bummer had great trade value. It wasn't necessarily because he was getting guys out, but he had a great favorable contract as well. Yeah. So, like, are they looking to do some of that stuff, or is there still a possible trade that we don't even know about hanging? Like, why are we waiting till Thursday? Something there doesn't exactly come out right, because, like, the Pirates, several teams released all their stuff today. So something there is still cooking, in my opinion.
I got Jared Jones made the squad. Just want to put that out there.
He did. You know what's scary, though? You know his direct comp for me? Direct comp?
Who?
It's Dylan Cease.
Oh, wow.
He throws 42% sliders, very high slider rate, struggles a little bit with the walk side, a lot of Ks. Like, I'm looking at him and I'm just like having flashbacks, like watching Dylan Cease.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan. So let's before we move on, we do have to discuss this Pedro Grifol quote that came out earlier this week. So Pedro says that I don't have a message to the fans. I don't think they want one. They want to see us go out and play. And I say that because if I'm a fan, I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. And I mean, it may be coach speak, but to me, it's the truth. And, you know, that's probably the best quote he's had in 2 years as the manager, because I don't give a damn what you're saying. I really don't.
Not after what you said last year.
You're going to go out and kick everybody's ass.
Yeah. Wait till you see us on the field, and then you can judge me. Well, I got a bad news. That's not going to be a very good grade from what we saw last year. So, like, what do you say if you already put your foot in the mouth 7 or 8 times? I guess you don't say anything anymore, right? Like,
you really can't.
Let's go see if we can prove it. So, I mean, that's where we're at.
So I mean, this is, you know, just a couple quotes coming from the front office and the manager. So let's move on to our throw to second. So right now we got our roster review. Okay. So earlier in the week we had a release, right? It was weird. So earlier in the week, they released infielder Mike Moustakas and outfielder Kevin Pillar.
Yep.
So then a couple days later, this comes out.
Correct.
So they signed to a major league contract, Kevin Pillar, and then DFA'd Tukey, to the dismay of a lot of White Sox fans that love mid players.
I don't. You knew I thought he was going to be gone a long time ago, but
yeah. So right now the White Sox have 42 players remaining kept, 22 pitchers, 3 catchers, 7 outfielders, and 7 infielders and 10 outfielders. And then just to kind of just put it all a bow on it, we was waiting on one thing. You and I, we talked about it for weeks, right?
Yep.
One player, right? We wanted to see if the White Sox were ever going to do it, and they did it. So the other yesterday, the White Sox put this lineup out, and what you see is Brendan Shoemake at third base.
Yeah.
And go ahead and elaborate on why you wanted to see that, Eric.
Well, I just didn't. From our very first program, I wanted them to let the kids play. I didn't want to see Mendick. I didn't want to see Moose. Really didn't want to even sell Pillar, but guess you can't get everything that you wish for. But the one thing I was curious about is nobody's ever played third. In all preseason, nobody had played third besides Moncada and Moose. And we all knew they were cutting Moose. So and I knew Mendick had played some third before, but who's going to win the bench spot for the utility role infielder? I was curious if they're ever going to even practice somebody over at third. So the second I saw this just kind of tells you that Schumacher's going to make, the opening day roster, and he's going to be the utility backup infield for second, short, and third.
Right.
But that's what I was looking to see, was who they're going to throw at third at some point to see.
Right. So, I mean, if Shoemake makes it, so who gets pushed out?
Mendick won't make it. So you got Sheets, who I told everybody, even though if you would have read White Sox Twitter from day one, he was never making it. And I told everybody first episode. I said Gavin Sheets will make it. You said they ain't gonna want to hear that, Ray. That's exactly what Eric. That's exactly what
I said. They ain't gonna hear it, but I mean, it's true. And he's had a good spring.
Of course he's gonna make it. Of course he's gonna make it. Sheets, Mendick, Pillar. No, I'm sorry. Sheets, Schumacher, Pillar, and now it's gonna be Lee because Stacy started on a DL. They put him on the but it'll be Stacy, right? So
and Lee's had a good year, so I'm not even tripping about it. I mean, he had a good spring. Let me just say that he's had a good spring.
Yeah, and obviously not over pumped. I don't think Lee's ever an answer. I don't think he's ever a deal. He's never more than a backup to probably the kid in AA or AAA this year at some point down the road, hopefully. I mean, but no. So that's where we're at. We knew kind of where that was going. The Pillar thing, people were confused. Well, why do you cut him and sign him back? This is such a dysfunctional organization, blah, 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 blah. Well, we haven't seen the details yet, but I can promise you this. The initial deal was $3.25 million if he made the major leagues. They ain't paying Kevin Pillar, who hasn't put up, I don't think, above a 90 WRC in years, $3.25 million for how he looked this spring. So they renegotiated the deal. They cut him. They offered him less. They offered to bring him back, give him a chance to play a little bit to eventually that he's cut, or whatever. He's probably going to make half of that. Maybe
I'm glad you brought up. I'm glad you brought up WRC because we're going to be talking about WRC a little bit later. So I'm glad you brought that up. But when you look at the roster, right? I'm gonna bring up the roster right now. Okay, here's the 40 as it stands today. Let me just get it to pop up, and then I'll put it up on the screen. But Stacy left hip to the IL today, so Lee gets the call. Brad Keller is progressing. So let me just let me get over here and let me stop that, and then we do this. So I want you to see it. All right, here we go, Eric. So as you see, you got Tanner, Baroa in the minors, Brebbia. Yeah, I don't know how he's looked. I think he had I think he's had a decent spring.
Yeah, he'll be the back end. He'll be a back end leverage guy, as he's been saying.
Here's our starter. Eder went down. Fetty, our fourth starter. Third. Yeah, he's third. Flexen is the fourth starter as of right now. Yep.
Garcia will make it. He'll make it.
He'll make it.
Kopech will obviously make it. Lambert's going to the IL.
Lambert's hurt?
He'll be on the IL. Yeah, he'll be on the IL to start the year.
Schultens is on IL.
Yeah.
These guys, Soroka, he'll be starting on Saturday.
Yeah. And Wilson obviously will be.
Yeah. Corley's up. Martinado. There's DeJong, Lopez, Moncada, Shoemake. Look at there. And Vaughn. So they sent, well, these guys are, whatever. Yep. Benny. There's our buddy Oscar Colas in the minors. Deloach went down. Fletcher, Pilar, Robert, Sheets, and then Eloy. So you're pretty much looking at the 26 right here in your face.
Yeah, I mean, the only question left is, it's been the same question we proposed last week, and people got to kind of make up their own minds. I have my opinion, but do you play the service game with Leisure and with Nastrini? Do you? I don't think it's important with Leisure as being a reliever because, even unless you're going to be elite relievers like Liam was making big money, most relievers make $5, $6, $7, $8 million. Last year, it probably isn't that big of a deal. You can always extend them later, or whatever. But what's a starting pitcher? If you think Nasrini's got a huge future, why would you not send him down for 6 weeks and bring him up and keep that 6 years of control? Would be my personal preference. But that's the only really thing left in the deal. Brad Keller, of course, makes it. They didn't go sign him. They're not having him pitch today to not make it. He's coming up at some point. I know people keep saying 9 relievers, but I don't see 9 relievers because if you look at the forecasted relievers, there ain't too many of them that have options. And if you don't have options, you can't send them down and back up. So you got to cut people. They're not going to bring somebody on to cut somebody for 3 weeks. They're just not going to lose the control of that. So I just think Brad Keller makes it for sure. I would guess Nastrini starts in the minors, but what do they do with the service manipulation on the time?
Yeah, so there was a quote about that in particular. Let's check it out. Here we go. Nope, not that one. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, maybe I didn't get it. Dadgummit. So there was a quote basically saying that it's not a service time thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're always going to say that. They're going to say, I just wanted to have him work on his changeup for happens to be exactly 6 weeks, or whatever. So, but we all know what it is. You just call it for what it is. I wanted 1 more year of control out of my starting pitcher. I didn't want to give it up. That's what it is.
Yeah, I thought I had it, but sometimes sometimes I don't get them all.
Yeah, no. Well, there's so many we talk about all week, so.
Yeah, so I mean, we just keep on going. So let's go into this right here. So here's my reason for Leisure, right? We saw this his stuff, right? This is from Thomas Nestico, right? TJ Stats. Shout out to
one of my favorite follows for sure. I love seeing this stuff every day.
So Jordan Leisure led all AAA pitchers in 4-seam stuff. Plus, in last year, he finally gets a chance to pitch in the Stadtkarts Park, and he did not disappoint. So basically, this is what it looked like, right?
Yep.
So if you don't understand this, and you don't understand Savant, Eric, can you just kind of break that down for?
Yeah. So the big thing we're looking at would be the TJ stuff plus column. That's what he's quoting on. It's about 3/4 of the way over there. Mm-hmm. 100 would be an average league fastball on the 4-seamer or whatever. He comes in at 107.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge plus number. 110 on the slider.
Yeah.
And 107 overall. So that tells you he's 7% better than league average. Already putting him in elite category. And we knew last year's in the minors he was something crazy, 116 plus, in the minors on his fastball. So it's big time stuff. It's perfect closer stuff. What do you want? I mean, we all watched Ronaldo Lopez do it for years. High-end fastball and a slider, right? You can get by. We're going to watch Kopech try to do it right now. Kopech ain't going to be throwing too many changeups or curveballs. Now that he's only going to 1 inning, he's going to fastball slider. I mean, that's bullpen. Ask Tampa Bay. That's all Tampa Bay does. Fastball slider. Fastball slider. Fastball.
Yeah, I mean, Adam and God, that was his name. I lost his name just that quick. No, Fairbanks.
Yeah,
that's all it is. That's all they do. And both of them have stuff plus both pitches.
Yep.
So they'll bring in Adam to set up, and then they'll bring in Fairbanks to shut them down.
Yep.
So I mean, we're going to see what happens. I think that we may see Kopech Leisure combination on the back end of the bullpen, like toward the middle of the year.
All of a sudden, it's kind of interesting. Like with Wilson and Brivio, like I don't mind at 4. Having at 4 towards the end of the back end is probably the least of my concerns. Being ahead in the 7th inning, so we could use some of that, probably would be a concern. But
so, who you got pegged as the 5th starter? Keller.
I think it's going to end up being Keller.
Let me just go predictions then. Let's go to our throw to third. All right, so let's just get right into it. So right now, my prediction is we already know basically Kopech, Soroka, Fedde, Flexen, and then Mastriani.
Not Kopech. Crochet.
Crochet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then
Crochet, Soroka, Fedde, and Flexen, we already know. Like those 4 are in stone, right?
Right.
So it's a matter of who you think 5. Do you think they play the service manipulation game, or do you not?
Well, I mean, I think that Chris Getz' history has shown us that he will play the manipulation game. So
yeah, I think
that means we'll see Keller.
I think you're going to see Keller, right there in
Murphy. Or, like you said, your prediction may be right, where they're in negotiations with another pitcher. AKA
could be. They said they don't even need a 4th starter. I can't remember the exact date that Merkin put up. You might still have the clip there, but I think it was the 3rd. Keller went 2 innings today. He can go one more time before the 3rd. That'll get him 3 or 4. They just basically use him as an opener and run a bullpen day. They don't need him for 5 more days, and he's ready to roll. And, you get one more year of control out of Mastriani. That's how I would guess it plays out. That's how I would play it out, or whatever. But it'll be interesting to see. That's probably him and Leisure are probably the only 2 question marks left. What do they do with those 2?
Yeah. And I don't feel like Chris Getz is not going to be himself. So
I just don't know how you have a team that is not going to win. Like they arguably could win less games than they did last year.
So what's the difference between what he did last year with Oscar? Because Gonzo was asking, he didn't do it with Oscar, but I think
it wasn't that. First of all, that wasn't Getz.
Yeah.
And second of all, you had a competitive team last year. You were supposed to compete last year. You were supposed to be in the hunt last year.
Yeah.
Or whatever. True. So this year, everybody knows we're not in the hunt. Let's just be what it is, right? Like I saw one of my guys that I trust pretty good. He put out 57 and 105 for his prediction model. So why would you possibly? You have a team this starving for talent. Why would you possibly waste a year of control?
I mean, we're going to come in last in our
4 or 5 starts. Why would you waste a full year of control for 4 or 5 starts in the streaming? Just like Keller did. Why does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. And we're going to come in last. Minnesota is far and away better. The Guardians are far and away better.
The Royals improved.
Royals have improved.
Tigers look decent.
Did that window open in your opinion?
Who's that? The Royals?
Royals.
Yeah, they opened it. They're trying to open it. They're trying to open it around Witt.
And I mean, I think that they made the signings to show their fan base, hey, we want to try to win.
Right. They also got a little bit going on what the White House going on. They're trying to get a brand new stadium down there in Kaufman too, trying to move it downtown.
Yeah. Like they want to get a fan something.
They want to get ticket sales. They want to bring.
Yeah, they got Lugo. They got Waka. They went out and made sure that they gave Cole Reagans some love and stuff like that. So I mean, I think we're in the cellar.
And I think everybody, yeah, I agree. And I think you got to know that. And if you're truly being a GM and you're trying to navigate, you're trying to raise value and assets, losing what should be his best year as a starter, to have him start 4 games to start this year is one of the stupidest things I could ever see happen.
Right.
Because his best year as a starter should be 6 years from now. Mm-hmm. And you get a chance to set an entire year of keeping him to skip 4 or 5 starts. It's a no-brain situation for me.
Yeah, you gotta play. I think he's gonna play it. We'll probably see that Thursday.
Why do you think Jackson Holiday would sit down?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah,
we will talk about that a little bit later. Because I find that them.
Why do you think Junior Cameo or whatever from Tampa was sent down?
Yeah.
They don't think he can play?
No, he can play.
Come on. Why do you think Wyatt was held down and it all showed up late last year?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna kind of like bring it to a full close when we go into kind of like I guess we can kind of talk about it now. Well, let's just go into the fantasy because it's not our team, so I talk about it in fantasy. But I find them so damn intriguing, and I want us to tie that into the White Sox. Like, here's how you can do it, even though they went through some hell to get there. But right now they're reaping the benefits of how they went about their rebuilds, and now they have a problem. We're talking about the Baltimore Orioles people. That's what we're talking about. Baltimore Orioles have an issue, and their issue is they have too much goddamn talent.
It's almost been mismanaged already in a little bit of it.
Right. So I mean, so let's Crochet goes what? Maybe 4 2/3.
So one of the cool things, if you pay attention, you learn it's not even so much pitch count anymore, right? It's up downs. They measure how many times you can afford to sit down, cool off, and rev back up. Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of the big stats. So I can't see. I think he's on a 70-ish pitch count, but they're not going to let him get up a fifth time. I think he's on 4 up downs. So like on opening day, all the deals, all the stuff, 4 innings will be his max. And if he freaks out early, he'll be out after 3 if he hits that 70 pitch hold.
So who comes in behind him? Who you think?
I mean, score is probably going to determine it, but they're going to want to save some stuff. I would guess it's probably either Banks or Shaw.
Right. I was going to say Shaw.
Banks or Shaw try to eat 2 or 3 more of those innings right away, and if they're in a spot, they'll go to Kopech and Bribia probably to try to bring it home. So I don't know if Leisure will be here yet either.
Yeah. So I mean, and then opening day lineup, to me, I think we've covered it numerous times, but let's just retract for the people. We going 1, who?
Benintendi will lead off.
Yep. 2.
Moncada will hit second.
Yep.
Robert will hit third.
Yep.
Eloy will hit 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Fawn will hit 5th.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have DeJean hit 6th.
Yep.
Slight question mark in 7. It'll be Fletcher pretty much all year long, but you do have an elite left-hander in Skubal on, so do they throw Pilar? I'm going to guess in this situation they go ahead and throw the kid the opening day start anyway, even though he's a left-hander, but that'll be Fletcher or Pilar.
Mm-hmm.
Maldonado will hit 8th and Lopez will hit 9th. That'll just –
yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's exactly what we're going to see. First guy off the bench is Sheets, in my opinion, and then we go from there. And then we just see how it rolls. So I don't have any expectations. I wanted to see my friends. I want to go and just have a few beers, a couple drinks, a couple Polish sausages. I'm gonna eat.
The thing I love about our group of the high baseball intelligence is we're all going to look for different things. And that's part of the fun of the conversation. Like, for me, I want to know, Crochet, you wanted to be a starter. Okay? You had a good spring up until they said you were going to be the starter, and all of a sudden you didn't look so good the outing after that. How do you handle opening day? The pressure, the jitters, your first career start, your first everything. Are you ball 1, ball 2 all day to start your game? Or are you in there pumping strikes, and can you mentally handle the pressures of all this that goes along with being an opening day first career start? Or are you nervous and jittery and missing by 5 feet? That's what I want to see to start the game.
I mean, I'm the complete opposite. I don't want to see shit. I just want to eat. I just want to drink, and I want to just talk shit to the fans in the stands. Yeah, but I do. I want to see. I love baseball, so I want to watch baseball, and I get to see the guys on the field playing the game that I love to watch, and that's pretty much. I have no expectations. I don't care.
They'll be better defensively. They'll steal more bases. There'll be a little bit of excitement out there.
You know what? I am looking forward to seeing how much more they run. That is one thing that I am looking forward to this year. How much more will the sign come from the dugout? Hey, look here. I'm wiggling my nose. Take off, bitch. I need to know. How much is that going to happen? Because
I think you're going to see a ton.
Because I think that's the trend now. Like you watch the teams that made it far in the playoffs, they ran and they constantly put pressure on opposing teams by running the backs. Diamondbacks, Rangers, who won the World Series,
Phillies who were close, right? Yeah.
I mean, it just all those teams that you saw from the divisional round to the playoff, they ran. You know,
and just to show you they're going to do it. Like, I think Schumacher was tied for second, and he was hurt the last 10 days or so, hurt in spring.
Yeah,
You've already seen Makata steal.
I had.
Yeah, you've already seen Makata steal. You've already seen Robert run.
Yeah,
like they ain't holding back. So, like, you know, I'm interested. I have, you know, that I'm a gambler. Have been done it professionally for big part of my life. You know, I bet Luis Robert to win the MVP. I don't think they'll give it to him because he's going to be on a terrible team. But I don't think it's out of line to say that he don't have 35 home runs, 40 doubles, and 35 stolen bases. Like, I don't think you're out of line. I think they're going to run that much.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, we just gotta get geared up, but we're also gearing up for the fantasy league and fantasy baseball, which in turn makes us watch a lot more baseball, right?
Yes.
I watched so much fucking baseball last year because I'm watching other teams, because I have players on my fantasy team.
What's that, teams?
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know why this damn thing. I swear to God, I'm gonna throw it sometimes. It changes my voice just on a whim. Just say, hey, you want to sound like you're fucking like I hate it. I gotta give me a new one. But so let's go over here. Let me see. Oh, hold on 1 second. Go back over here. Let's go to let's take our throw to home. All right. So I want to talk about a couple things here, because a lot of times I want to lean on the young guys. Okay. And I want to bring the young guys up. But then, Eric, you told me something and you showed me something. And I was like, I will stop doing that, because you got to give them a chance. So what we're talking about is WRC, weighted runs created. Okay. Basically, weighted runs created means that what is your value? How do you produce on the field, and how do you get runs? Right?
Yeah.
Is that roundabout way of introducing it? So, our guy Jordan Finland, shout out to Jordan Finland. He did a translation for hitters using the 2021 through 23 data of average AAA player losses 34 WRC points when promoted to the majors. Right. So what that looks like, let's bring this up. Eric, you could kind of break it down.
Yeah. So, like, you'll just hear a lot of crazy takes out there. And I'll give you one of them that absolutely drives me bonkers. Well, AA is where all the talent is anyway, all the products in the AA. So if they can play AA, they can play Major League Baseball. Look at this right here. Negative 51 points, negative 47 points, negative 46 points. Like, AAA here shows you you're going to lose, you know, you're talking, this is basically percent because it's off 100.
Yeah.
34, 36, you know, and depending on which side of the deal they were on. So if a guy has a 136, 137 WRC plus,
he's going to be league average.
AAA, he's going to be league average
when he comes up. Yeah.
When he comes up is basically what this is saying.
Right.
And I love the detail he went in. He didn't just have he broke it down by what
region,
AA and stuff they were in. So, like, this just shows you when people are trying to project whether or not people will be good or not good. If they're using WRC plus, OPS plus, those kind of things, they're jaded. The talent is not the same as it is in the major league level.
No, it is not. Yep. So I found that very interesting because I have a pretty good minor league kind of stash, right?
Yep.
And one of the guys that I'm looking forward to is James Wood.
Yeah.
Right? And James Wood last year had a very high K rate.
Yep.
But he is having a great spring, right? And in the spring, he had a 0.09 OPS, right? Which is fucking amazing. He had 5 home runs,
yep,
on and so forth. But I think I'm very interested to see when they the Nationals sent him to the AAA, I'm interested to see how he performs in AAA, right? Just because I know that brand of baseball and that level of competition is a little bit different.
Yep. It's for sure better. It's 20% better. You just saw it by the stat, right? You can tell that it's better. So let's talk a little bit about that. A lot of people get hung up on K rate. To me, just saying what a guy's K rate is it's half the battle. Right. But I want to know why they have a K rate.
Right.
Do they chase?
Right.
Or are they just swinging and missing a lot? Or do they have both? The reason why, and I told everybody that would listen, which wasn't very many, but that's okay. Now we get to say I told you so. You knew Oscar Coles was going to be a bust. Was he chases and he swings and misses? You can't do both on a major league level and be successful. Like, you cannot have both of those qualities. You either got to have bat control or you got to have plate control. Makata's got a lot of swing and misses, but he has a good approach. He can get away with it because he's only swinging the strikes. So he's going to make more contact. So when you're evaluating your minor league players like James Wood, I would look and see, is he a chaser or was he just swinging and missing pitches in the zone?
Because we're together in one of our leagues. That's why I want to bring this up. Because we took a guy in Will Benson.
Yeah.
And the reason why you end up taking him, I'm gonna bring up his Savant page.
Bring it up.
I'm gonna bring up his Savant page in 1 second. And if you look at his Savant page, look at this. He got a high walk rate.
Yep.
He does not chase and he barrels.
Yep.
So that's what you're talking about right there.
It's a lot easier to teach. It can be a fundamental thing as far as keeping the ball in the zone to make better contact, to beat stuff and is than trying to change somebody's demeanor into no longer being a chaser.
Right. But
you saw it with type in Acuna. You can see Acuna. Acuna is probably one of the best examples you can find. Aston and I were talking about this on the deal. Like, if you go to Acuna, people are going to be like, well, he didn't strike out as much, so he fixed it. But if you look at his chase, he didn't fix his chase. He just figured out a way to make better contact. Because chase is something normally that doesn't improve. It's tough to improve. I'll just put it that way. Not that you can't improve it, but it's kind of like you're either a chaser or you're not. But if you
want me to go down to his other years, right?
Like, if you can scroll it. I want you to go back up. You can just go. Oh yeah, you can go down. I think it has chase.
I know what you're talking about. You want to go here to right here.
Does it have chase on there? Yeah.
Chase rate right here.
Yeah. So his chase is actually very good, but look at how much he was swinging and missing. Look at his whiff percentage, right?
Right.
Well, all of a sudden last year
he didn't whiff.
He didn't have it, but his chase rate didn't change. All of a sudden he figured out a fundamental way or something, some deal to actually not whiff. Like when you go study chase rates, you won't see too many that are all over the map. You won't see a 5 and then it's a 95 or like a 10 and it's an 80. Like, a lot of times your chase rate is it is what it is.
Yeah, it was a guy I wanted to show you the reason why I made the move that I made in the Scumbag League was because of Savant.
Yeah. I mean,
so this was the reason why I was like, yeah, Spencer Steer, give him to me. Right.
Yeah.
Because the guy is he does not chase and he does not whiff,
Yep.
And he doesn't K and he walks. So that tells me that, and he's young. He's only 26. He's going to get better at all of this.
Yeah, and he should be able to barrel more up. Coming as he's only had 773 plate appearances.
Yeah,
like he starts. He has another 600 of that. He should catch the sweet spot more often. He catches the barrel more often. All of a sudden, you're looking at more home runs and more RBIs. But I love how you use this knowledge in your team. You took the kid from the Royals. Everybody was, at the time you drafted him, nobody even knew who he was. And I'm like, Ray, that's sneaky, Ray. I told you right away. Yeah. And now if you're reading all this stuff, he's like the fantasy darling of the league.
Because everything of this.
Look at this.
Yeah. Look at this.
Yeah. So the value you got here in this,
I got him in the 23rd round.
Yeah. Even when he drafted him, people, I can already tell. People like, who is this? Who is this? And all of a sudden, now you pull up. The main event just went. You pull up. You see people plugging him 14th, 15th round. Deals. Like, he's moved up since we drafted. Like, and it's because of stuff like this. It's being able to if a guy can take the next step or not take the next step. Being able to evaluate that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I was, and that's why I made some of the moves that I made on my team. But here's the other thing, and I'm going to talk about this because I was having here's Caleb. Screw you, Caleb. We know you're a fucking Twins fan, and whatever. I don't care.
I don't even know, buddy. I don't think they can. I don't think they can, Caleb.
Well, hey man. But anyway, Caleb, let's talk about, because me and him had a conversation, Eric, and this is what I wanted to kind of talk about because of fantasy and because of the White Sox. So the Baltimore Orioles opened their window and it opened fast and it flooded through last year, right?
Yeah.
So many young guys.
They overachieved last year from expectations.
Right. Well, yeah, for sure. They did. I will give you that. They did overachieve. They did. I will give you that. But they have a bevy of talent over there.
Yeah.
Okay? To the point where some names got sent down the other day and it was like, wow, because they just do not have room. Heston Kjerstad is a slugger.
Yeah.
And he can't make it.
He did have a terrible spring, but yes, Cowser beat him out, right?
Cowser beat him. Right? But Stowers, you know what I'm saying? Jackson Holiday, we're going to come back to him in 1 second.
Yep.
Kobe Mayo has had an outstanding spring.
Yep.
But he can't do it.
Connor Norby ain't ready yet. I mean, we're not ready on a team competing yet, right?
Yeah. Connor Norby, same deal. These guys are talented baseball players, right?
Correct.
And then people were just like, why would the Baltimore Orioles not bring up Jackson Holiday? So before I bring it up, Eric, you haven't seen this. Why do you think the Orioles sent Jackson Holiday to AAA?
I can only tell you 2 reasons. 3.
Okay.
The last one's probably the least important, but I can tell you who had a 31% K rate in spring ball.
Mm-hmm.
Not ideal. I can tell you, I think he's only played less than 20 games at AAA, and you just showed the stats of how important it is to be able to even produce at AAA. And so he needs regular at bats. He's still not quite ready. You don't want what's supposed to be a contact hitter. It's supposed to be, that's his game, right? 80 hit tool.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about a guy that's supposed to be hitting 35 home runs. We're talking about 80 hit tool.
Yeah.
80 hit tool, striking out 30, I think it was 31.2, 31.5% of the time in spring ball is not ideal. Mm-hmm. He hadn't seen that level of pitching yet. He hadn't seen it, and he wasn't doing very well with it. So he needs more reps, and I'm also going to guess somebody is going to say he needs to face stronger left-handed pitching. I'm going to guarantee if somebody's going to say that. I hate that stuff, but I bet it was said. And then, of course, same thing we just talked about with Leisure and Estrina, you get another year of control.
Yeah. So here's one of the guys that the same guy. He covers the Baltimore Orioles for MASN.
Yeah.
Rose. I'm not going to butcher his last name, but Mike Elias said Jackson Holiday is way, way ahead of the curve, but he cited lack of experience versus quality left-hand pitching, which you just said.
Yeah.
In the majors and AAA, and mentioned the Orioles would see many early in the season. Also talked about a position change.
Yep.
You didn't say that one. And no to whether service time was a factor. I think that last part is bullshit. But
so do I. But yeah, they're moving to second base, right? From shortstop. So that's going to be another change that he's going to have to go through. But you can very rare. I'm not saying it can't be done. Of course, there's been elite talents that can go from AA to.
Yeah, I mean,
but you're talking
Juan Soto.
Yeah. Somebody's got to. You're talking. You got to be creme de la creme, because if you have a weakness in Major League Baseball and they find it, good night. You'll be going back and forth and going back down, right? And not to mention, the Orioles have good players at their positions
everywhere.
I mean, right?
Like Mountcastle, freaking Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rushman.
Yeah, Mateo's playing, right? Like he was like a plus guy. Like they got major league talent too. They're trying to win. They ain't got time to be waiting on him to try to figure the major leagues. Like just send him back down and let him work on his K rate. Let him work on the stuff he needs to work on, his position change. When he's ready to come up, make sure he's ready. Yeah.
I mean, but Cowser and Westberg they came up last year.
Yeah.
Cowser kind of faltered. Westberg kind of stayed mid. But they both had good springs, and they both made the major league team.
Yep.
So I mean, those are two young guys that we hadn't even talked about, Cowser and Westberg.
Well, you can't gain a year of control by sending them down because they were already up last year.
They were already up last year.
So
you know what I'm saying? So they're playing the game. I want that for the White Sox.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. They have pitching too that they haven't even talked about, but they're still lacking pitching in they're bat heavy in the minors. They need
I
think they're going to fix some of those guys.
What they did. I'm glad the owner is selling because this team's future looks so bright. And under that last ownership, they were never going to be able to spend. Like, I think their payroll was like 60, 70 million last year. Like, wasn't very much. They already said they couldn't re-sign all their stars. So maybe a new ownership can do it. But it was almost mishandled last year a little bit. They lost 9 guys off of their AA team to the Rule 5.
Yeah.
So if you had 9 teams willing to take those guys, and you ran out of because there's 2 things when you talk about service time. A guy can only spend so many years in the minors before you get to put him on the 40.
Right.
Okay. It's 5 years if you're 19 or over, and 6 years. I think it's 4 years if you're 19 or over, and 5 years if you're under 19. Something along
right. That's
along
the
those
Rule
lines.
5 rules. Yeah.
Yeah. So like before you got to get on the 40. Well, if you knew you weren't going to have room for him on the 40, and you had this talent that teams were really taking in Rule 5, why didn't you move them? For younger talents or for major league talents, or why did you just lose them? So like that was my only complaint about the Orioles. But man, what an embarrassment of riches they have, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and then I think another team that we talk about, me and you and everybody that our circle, right? Just come back to everybody. Is the Dodgers are going to be in that predicament next year?
Yeah,
they're going to be in that same predicament. They have a wealth of talent over there. Right, those 2 catchers, they got to go somewhere, right?
How do you think the White Sox got into Srini and Leisure? They were already kind of in it last year. They gave them up for Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly because they're like, we can't keep them anyway. Here, you might as well have them.
Yeah, like they have so many talent, but they're so top heavy on the main roster. So
So what Getz ought to be doing right now?
Yeah,
studying those teams that are in those 40-man crunches for those deals, and come a deadline, you should be sellers and buyers. You should be trying to buy young talents and sell off old talents. That's
yeah. So
some of our fantasy owners should be doing already.
Yeah, right.
They all still think they can win, but some of them should be rebuilding already.
Yeah. So let me just do this. I'll pull up mine, and I'm just going to say how I'm kind of excited about what's going to happen as far as the Scumbag League, because that's I can't pull up the Yahoo League for some reason. I don't know.
Huh.
I just can't do it. It's weird as shit. I can't pull it up. But let me just go to my squad and just do a kind of a refresher. Fantrax wants to act a fool right now. Come on.
Man, I struggle with that. That team I drafted Saturdays on Fantrax and like 2, and like I don't know.
Yeah. So let me see. Let me get this out of here. All right. And then all right, here we go. All right. So yeah, there's my team. There's the survivors, Matrix survivors, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about, like, people have been dogging me for taking Christian Encarnacion Strand. I guarantee you, if you go and look at the last 3 weeks of ADP top risers, he's one of them.
And you know what else you took a lot of heat for that was just completely uncalled for?
Which one?
Was Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
Dude, Kyle Tucker's like flying like 7, 8, 6 in all these main event deals.
I moved up to get him at 9.
And no, he's more valuable probably in our league than most leagues.
Yeah.
The way we score.
Yeah, I just don't get it. So I got, Carroll and Tucker, Santander, Tovar. He just signed an extension. The Rockies know what he is. They gave him 8 years, 84. Do you see that?
So if you had, like, looking at your team, knowing what the categories are, like, where's your concerns? What's your concern, and what are you worried about trying to manage on a weekly basis?
My number one concern is when Encarnacion Strand and Steer are out, I have a backup, but what if they not there? You know what I'm saying? But it's really pitching because I gave up Yama, but I think I got it to where I can kind of manage it because the number one thing I had to figure out because of the injuries to Devin Williams and the injury to Romano, I was like, holy shit, I just lost my hose guys in Piamps and Swanson, right? So I had to figure out a way to get some hose. So I picked up Neris with the Cubs and Sports with the Rangers. So hopefully, you know, I can get some holds there. And then the punk ass Giants took away some of my quality starts and starts from Kyle Harrison by signing Blake Snell. So now he's a 3, not the 2, you know. Yeah. So that kind of screwed me.
And then let's see your minor team because I want to talk about mine after this. I have one concern. So
So here's my minors.
You kind of did the same theory I did, which I agree with. And we're going to have Caleb back on. I don't know if Caleb's still watching because I want to talk to Caleb a little bit. Like one thing I disagree with maybe what Caleb did. Don't get me wrong. It's sick that he got Langford and Camario on the same deal. Like that's absolutely disgusting. It never should have happened in any fantasy league. But like a lot of his prospects are like almost ready. So how's he going to manage that? Is he just
that's what we were talking about?
Is he going to kind of leave him there, or is he not going to leave him there? Is he going to bring him
up? Effect. He said he's going to leave him. We talked about it.
He's going to leave him, and then next year not worry about it so much and kind of make the decision later and let him grow up.
That's basically but maybe I think he's going to bring up maybe one of them this year. You know,
like Wyatt's probably got to come off. I'm assuming he's going to play Wyatt. I would assume.
No, he's got Wyatt up. Wyatt is already up.
He already pulled him up. Yeah. So if you go over to mine,
hold on, let me just talk about this guy right here, Christian Scott. Oh my God,
squad. I cut him.
You cut him?
I cut him. He's great though.
I saw him pitch one time and said, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, he was on my squad. I literally running out of spots. Like I didn't know what to do. But he was on my squad.
All right, so let's go to the E-Class. E-Class.
But he's going to be almost ready now. I don't think the Mets have announced, but he might make it too.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything from the Mets because they got Manea. They got but with the fact that what's his name? Kodai Senga is still hurt. They got to put somebody in that spot, so he might. So what are you saying? Go to your
back up first. Like you want to talk about something earlier. Eric Cross, who I know pretty much all the fantasy people follow or whatever, right? Yeah. Came out with like 4 big risers on ADP from when we drafted till now. It just happened to be James Outman, it happened to be O'Neill Cruz, and it happened to be Ketel Marte. Like of the 3 of the 4 risers. So like I think I found some value there.
Yeah.
I know my team is well stacked. I knew it when I drafted it, and I knew it. Now, the one thing I'm curious about, and what I kind of want to discuss with Caleb was, if you go down to my minor leagues, you can tell, other than Bush, who you could have claimed earlier, which, by the way, he's available.
He got him pegged for National League Rookie of the Year.
I know. Well, I'm telling you, like, and here's the other thing. I saw some people talking earlier. Like, if you truly want to say you understand value in fantasy and dynasty, here's one that most people will understand. Michael Bush has more dynasty value than Mike Trout does. Like they won't get it though. They won't get the decline in the growth. But I have nobody here close. Like I drafted what I believe will be next year's top 10, top 15, top prospects a year in advance because I knew my major league roster was so full. I knew I wasn't going to have room.
Yeah.
And I wasn't drafting until 12 or 13 anyway. So like
I had the same idea.
So I took these kids that like I didn't want people that were going to be knocking on the door this year. I was looking for next year, maybe the year after. It's kind of the way that I went.
Yep, that's why I like my mind was James Wood, you know, maybe this year, but then that's why I got, you know, Max
Clark.
Dylan Head. Yeah, Max Clark, Dylan Head, Sagasi, you know, those guys. I got them. They're not Locklear. He's not ready. He won't be ready.
I don't know what you've seen out of this Leonidas Diveris, but like, he looks sick.
Oh yeah. San Diego
game. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he played in the Rising game. I said
Rising game. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
I said, wow, the spring breakout game. Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then you got Jared Jones sitting down here, just sitting there. You got Houston Waltrip just sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's pretty sick.
Now you see why Scott got cut. I didn't want to carry too many pitchers anyway, right? And
yeah,
I just didn't know if I could use him this year, but
yeah, when I saw him, I said, "Oh, Christian Scott." Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Eric, and here's the only thing I was thinking about for you: your saves. You know, Alvarado is about it now because Presley's going to be setting up.
That's why I picked up.
Who doesn't know what Barlow's going to do?
Yeah,
that's why you picked up Suarez.
That's why I picked up Suarez. Like I think too much people spend time on closers and relievers, you know, or whatever on that deal. And to be honest with you, that's one of my concerns for sure. And I'm gonna have to manage that week to week.
Right.
So if I go against somebody that's saves heavy, I'll probably just punt. They can have it. I'll go take the holds. If I go against somebody that's holds heavy, I'll probably try to pick up some spot closers.
That's the
pick some stuff and kind of move the week to matchups because that's the difference between this and the roto, right? Instead of just stacking them, I only got to beat the person in that week in that category. So I wanted to stay dynamic in holds and saves. So that's why you see 2 or 3 holds guys, 2 or 3 save guys.
Yeah.
I'm just going to manage that. And I don't have to go 15-0 every week, you know, or whatever. Like if guys got 4, you go against Asinine, who's got like 4 closers, you know what, buddy? You just win saves. You just win. You might be in whip too, you know, or whatever, but you're just going to win it.
Like, Asinine comes with a platoon. Like it's just a platoon blitz of relief.
And he's just going to beat me now. Why would I even necessarily run him out there? I'm going to have to make sure that I beat him in Ks and see if I can hold down my whip and get lucky in ERA, you know, or something like to try to play against him. But that's what's fun about the head-to-head and the guys is just being able to mix match your rosters. What I learned right away and why I was in last place for a quarter of the year last year was like I was used to roto where you're just stacking stats. I'm like, I'm out homering my opponents by 12 home runs every week, but I'm also losing batting average, Ks, you know, every other category. And I'm like, I had to change the whole dynamic of the squad. But
that's hold on, let me see.
That's what's fun about this is just trying to the matchups matter. And once you got categories 1, like I was setting players or playing different players, like who's a complementary player to your team. He might not help your ratings overall, but he's complementary. Like last year, Jeff McNeil, I even had Benintendi for a while. They don't K. And my team was so K heavy that if I got ahead in home runs, I would just take out my 2 biggest strikeout guys and put them in.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the Roto League. I wish I could pull it up. I just for some reason I can't sign into them on my computer. I just got it on my phone. I can't pull up on my computer. But anyway, here's the last thing I want to talk about, Eric, and this is our goal because we got it with the Roto League with Doc and Will and Julian and those guys over there. Caleb's in this league. Caleb's ass in 5 fucking leagues, bro. He's a junkie.
Yeah,
you're in 4, so I can't even.
No, just 3.
Oh, I thought it was the daily one.
That's the one I just drafted.
Right. So then
it's 1 against you and the 1 with you.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in 3. Caleb's in 5. I think Justin's in 4. I can't do it. 2 is enough.
That's why I said we should do best ball.
Yeah. Well, this is the goal.
Next year.
Next year, we want to try to get into the real NFC.
Yep.
And this is like the Platinum League. You're at the Mirage. You're picking in a fucking room with some of the best fantasy players in the world. And it's just, like we want to get our name out there in the fantasy world. That's why we joined the Roto League with these guys.
Trying to learn and trying to do the ZIF. And that was part of, misplaced, but that was part of my frustration in Scumbag League. Like I was looking for a real run. I wanted a real test. I didn't, but it's not us.
It's still going to come. I know for a fact it's going to come.
I know it's not us, and it should be more about fun. So I've relaxed that a little bit. But that was my frustration that day. Like I really want to try to improve. I want to try to learn. I want to try to when we go against these other deals. What is it? So the Roto League will be a lot of fun for. Well, you saw how many times we got sniped in that league, and how many times we were sniping.
Yeah,
like the players understand the same thing that you understand almost. Yeah. Like there's not much learning gaps there.
Yep. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to opening day. Thursday, I'll be there. I'm leaving work early. I took a half a day. I don't miss opening day,
Yeah.
and I'm headed out to the rate and go out there and just have a good time and enjoy the spring quote unquote weather, and
Yeah.
then maybe see Garrett Crochet strike out 5 or 6 dudes.
Yeah, and then as this 100 loss season probably comes back on us, we'll be more and more fantasy on this show. I got a funny feeling.
Yeah. Fantasy would be at least half the show. Like,
yeah, it's gonna go from like
the Sox, like
the throw to first base. The White Sox suck. All right,
let's go.
Second base is gonna be
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. But shout out to the Fair Catch crew who had a show today. It was electric. They were just going at it. It's a lot happening in that world over there. But shout out to Elise, Julius, and Isaiah doing a great job with the Fair Catch show. Catch them every Monday at 3:30. Catch the pickoff show with me and Eric, and on Mondays at 5 o'clock. And then we have some more things brewing. So keep in tune. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel at Ray's Juke Joint. Follow us on Twitter at Ray's Juke Joint. And you'll find all the shows there, archived on Twitter and on YouTube. So we appreciate everybody coming. We had a nice group of people in here today, and we always have a nice, fun chat going on. And thank you, Gonzo. I will do my best to have a great time on Thursday. And then we just go from there. All right?
Yeah. That's all we can do.
So, Eric, next week, we're going to be talking about Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday's games.
Yep.
Against a pretty good opponent.
Division rival.
And here's the reason why I picked up Jack Flaherty.
Yeah. Well, I made it today. Somebody else should pick him up. You know what I mean? Like, I cut him today, but.
Yeah. Hey, Jack Flaherty, like I said, yep. There we go. There's my fifth starter right there.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go, man, I almost messed up, Eric. I wanted to. This is one last thing before we go.
You got it.
One last thing. All right. So this was funny. So John Anderson, he is another one of the guys I follow for fantasy baseball. He said, "Hey, look at these spring ERAs. Ranger Suarez, Jared Jones. Our guys, Jared Jones, no ERA. Miles Mikolas, 2.14. But he said you interpret it below. If you like the guy, if you like the pitcher and he has a good spring, it's meaningful. If you like him and he has a bad spring, it's meaningless.
Right.
And if you don't like the pitcher and he has a good one, it's meaningless. And if you have a pitcher and he has a bad spring and you don't like him, it's meaningful. So everybody out there, if you are watching and enjoying spring training and looking at the numbers, pick a side, because Cole Reagan's at a 6.75 ain't it. He is not that. Corbin Burns at a 6.75 is not it. He is not that.
Well, not only that, like you saw it last night on Twitter. When the White Sox said they were going to keep Brian Shaw, people freaked out. He hasn't had a very good spring, I've seen some of them say. His last 5 appearances, he hasn't given up a run, 5 hits, 9 Ks, and no walks. What do you mean? He didn't have a good spring. Because he got tattooed one time doesn't mean he didn't have a good spring.
Maybe he was working on his cutter. Or maybe he was working on his
maybe he went against starting lineups versus bad lineups. Like spring training, people put too much on the results. Good or bad.
Yep. And congratulations, Gonzo, on Yordan falling to you. That's pretty dope. He said he had Yordan fall to him in the second, and he had the third pick in the snake. So that means he had pick. I guess they have a 10-team league, 13. So,
he had pick 2.
Oh, he had the third pick in the second round.
Third pick in the second round.
I think they have 10. I think they have 10.
He turned Yordan around. Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
Obviously great. I don't know what their categories are, but he's gonna
12-team league, so that's 15. So
yeah.
I mean, Yordan going at 15 is crazy. But,
I don't even care what your rules are. He's a fantasy player for sure. Whatever. So
they got some. You'll have to talk to Caleb about their rules.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into it. I don't even know how do we have quality starts and wins both in ours. Like, I gotta start showing up for the meetings. I gotta start.
Yeah, you gotta start showing up.
I'm like,
all right. And on that note, we're gonna shut the lights off. We're gonna shut it down. This has been Ray's Juke Joint. This has been the Pickoff Show. Thank you guys for coming and supporting us. And remember, to like and subscribe to the channel. And we appreciate everything and all the views.
Always. And it's baseball season.
It's baseball season. Yes, it is.
Let's go.
All right, y'all. Let's turn the lights off in this BL.